Welcome to Successfully Simple, the creative entrepreneur's guide to working less and living more. I'm your host, Erin Flynn, and I've been running my creative business since 2012, and now I'm sharing everything I can to help you along your journey. On this podcast, we'll be diving into ways that you can find the support that you need, simplify your business so that you can work less while still hitting your goals, create a signature service with consistent income, systematize your business so that it runs smoothly, and sell without feeling sleazy. Let's dive into today's episode. Hey there, Erin here, and in today's episode, I'm going to break down how to create an intro packet to streamline your client screening and onboarding. Now, as a heads up, this is quite a long episode and it's very in-depth. So while listening to it is great, you may want to reference the show notes at erinflynn.com/intro-packet. That's erinflynn.com/intro-packet when you go to actually make yours. All right, let's get started. Now, way back when I started my own web design business in 2012, I didn't really have any guidance. The courses, the content, all of those things that are available today flat out did not exist back then. And I had this horrible problem of having bad clients constantly. Now, I want to be clear, they were not necessarily bad people. A couple of them were, but for the most part, they were great people who were just not a good fit for working with me and the kind of business that I wanted to have. They would do things like call me on a Sunday morning or shoot me an email and expect an immediate response. And if they did not get this immediate response, they would run around to Facebook and they would post on my wall, or they would start publicly tweeting at me, which made me just look like an idiot who wasn't serving my clients well, even though I was actually neck deep in their project trying to get it done instead of sitting in my email inbox. Or some of these clients would have really unrealistic expectations of how long a project would take, or they wouldn't understand that, yes, I really did need them to provide feedback and participate in the process. Sometimes they would do things like disappear in the middle of a project, which meant the whole project stopped, because they would go on vacation and they would not tell me. I figured there had to be a better way to screen out clients who didn't respect my boundaries, while also letting clients know what they should expect during a project, because obviously they had no idea, and I didn't want there to be all of these surprises or holdups. But I could not find anything out there in my search. There were service guides which were designed to give an overview and a price list of what creative business owners had to offer, and photographers use these a lot for things like different photo shoot packages. And then there were welcome packets which are sent after the client had already signed a contract, but for me, that was far too late to weed out people who were going to be a problem because at that point, they've already signed a contract. There was nothing out there that would automatically screen clients who would not respect my processes or that would set expectations about the project before either of us had committed or even wasted time on a phone call. So I, to the best of my knowledge anyhow, created the very first intro packet in 2014. And I sat down and I outlined everything I thought my potential clients would want to know. I wrote it all out. I popped it into a PDF that I could email, and I started sending it to every potential client who came my way. Surprisingly, the results were immediate. Potential clients who were a bad fit stopped wasting my time and went to someone else, and potential clients who were a great fit loved the intro packet and how organized I was. They were excited to work with me and knew exactly what to expect during the project, which reduced scope creep and helped keep everything on a schedule. I am updating this blog post with this podcast episode. I first wrote this blog post January 27th, 2016, and it is now May 2020 that I'm recording this. And so I have had the honor and the privilege of teaching hundreds of students how to create their own intro packets. And I am thrilled that the idea has spread and it's now commonplace, not just for web designers, but for all sorts of creative businesses. So I'm seeing them everywhere now, and that is awesome because I think they are the coolest tool. So if you want to make your own, I'm going to break it all down in this post. And again, as a reminder, you can hit the show notes at erinflynn.com/intro intro-packet to get all of this in a nice skimmable format. So first of all, what is an intro packet and why the heck do you want one? So when you're working with your clients, you have got to outline the process and let those potential clients know what to expect. This is going to keep them from getting antsy if they don't hear from you for a few days, and it will let them know what they need to provide and when. So an intro packet includes all of this important information, and it allows you to spend more time working on projects and less time answering questions. So an intro packet is going to do the following for you. It's going to give your potential clients a rough overview of the project and what to expect throughout. It's going to let potential clients know what you need from them and when so that they can prepare. It will let potential clients know when and how they can contact you. It will give your potential clients a rough timeline of the project so that they're not surprised when their project is not complete, in 24 hours, unless that's actually something you do. It's going to remind potential clients of your major policies. So that's something that you're going to tell them in multiple places, but the intro packet is actually one of the first places besides your website. And then you repeat some of your major policies throughout things like your welcome packet and your contract and stuff like that. The reason why is because you can never tell someone the big important stuff too many times. Repetition is key in getting things to sink in. An intro packet is also going to keep you from having to answer the same questions over and over and over again with every potential client. So I already touched on this, but if you're wondering what really is the difference between an intro packet and a welcome packet, I want to explain that the major difference is that an intro packet is designed to be sent before you and a client sign a contract. It helps weed out clients who are not a good fit for you. And I recommend sending the intro packet shortly after getting the initial inquiry and before you spend any time creating a quote or hopping on a call with a potential client. Your intro packet is designed to screen potential clients. It's going to outline the big picture, and it's going to let potential clients decide if you're a good fit for their project before either of you waste your time. On the flip side, a welcome packet is sent after the client has agreed to a project. It outlines exactly what you need and how you need it, and it's going to let clients know how to access things and use stuff like your project management system. So the intro packet is the big picture, and you should not waste time on tiny details that the potential client does not need to know yet. Like, they do not need to know how to actually use your project management system. So in your intro packet, you're just going to outline the big stuff that is make or break for working with you. Like, you might tell them that they're going to have to use a project management system. You just won't tell them all of the nitty-gritty details on, how to upload their files or access it yet. Or you might want to tell them things like when it's acceptable to call you and when it's not. So think bigger picture things that are really, really important to you and having the project run smoothly. So the anatomy of an intro packet. An intro packet should include basic information that does not change from like project to like project. So for example, if you offer a signature service, which I totally recommend that you do, you just need one intro packet for everyone who inquires about your signature service. If you offer multiple services that have different processes, maybe you do web design and consulting, you're going to need to make an intro packet for each service. But you can totally keep things simple by reusing information whenever possible. If you have the same office hours, regardless of service, then reuse them in every intro packet. So here's the basic outline for all intro packets. You can, of course, feel free to add information, rearrange according to your industry, omit things that are not applicable to you. But overall, an intro packet should include a cover, an intro, your office hours or how to contact you, what's included, what you need from the client, your process and timeline, payment information, an FAQ, and a wrap-up. So this is going to be enough to cover the majority of the questions that you get and to weed out those who don't agree with your policies before you waste any time going back and forth or getting on calls. This is a great way to inform your potential clients about what it's like to work with you, and it will help get the right people excited about working together. It's going to also alleviate a lot of major concerns that potential clients have. At the same time, it doesn't just help your clients, it makes your life easier because you don't have to start with the beginning every single time with every single client. So, what we're going to do next is dive into each section. The cover and title. So it's pretty self-explanatory, or so it seems, but a cover needs to do more than just look pretty. It should set the tone for working with you. So you're going to want to match the cover of your intro packet to your branding and include a title or possibly a subtitle that explains what the service is. Now, most of my students do a PDF, but if you're not doing a PDF, you're still going to need a title. So if you're doing a video, you need a title. If you're doing this as a web page, you need a title. Don't skip this because it really sets the tone for working with you right away. Now, as a pro tip, you want to set the tone, but don't be too clever. Potential clients shouldn't have to guess about what's inside your intro packet. The intro packet intro. So that's weird to say, and it seems silly, to have to do it at all. But just because the client contacted you and maybe you've gone back and forth over a couple emails, there should really be no question about what you're working on together. But there might be, okay? Clients probably have no clue, about everything that's included in a service or what this intro packet is. So you're going to need to tell them. So I write the intro as a letter or like an email, and I think that really makes it kind of personal and gives a nice touch to it. You can, of course, make this more formal if that's how your brand is. But I do recommend that you include a photo to let them put a face to your words because you likely haven't gotten on a call with them yet. So as a pro tip, remember for this section that they are not a client yet. They are being screened. So steer clear of any language that implies you are accepting them as a client at this point. Your office hours. So this is something that people have given me grief about, including my office hours when they're not even a client yet. But I think that office hours, for me anyhow, have been one of my most violated boundaries. And so because of this, I think it's really important to let potential clients know when I am available. So I strongly recommend including your office hours in your intro packet at the beginning, especially if you don't work a normal 9 to 5 Monday through Friday schedule. Nothing is more frustrating for us than to get calls outside of our office hours, and we sometimes need to sleep, and nothing is more frustrating for clients than to not know how or when they can get through to you. So they've probably paid you a lot of money. They need to know when you're available. So with your office hours, you need to include the days that you work, the times that you work, how clients should communicate with you and why if it's important, a rough turnaround time for communication, and any scheduling info they need to know, like using a call scheduler to get on a call with you. Now, as a pro tip, if you are not currently using a call scheduler, you should start. They are awesome. I love them. This will help you plan your days so much better and keep your work from being interrupted. I personally love Calendly. There's also Acuity and tons of others, but a call scheduler makes a world of difference. The next section is what's included. So I'm assuming that you're offering clearly outlined services like a signature service. And so you can outline what the client gets here so that they know from the start. And yes, I know that they technically already know because they're contacting you about your service that they probably saw on your website, but repeating things does not hurt. So to keep things simple, save the nitty-gritty details for the scope of work and or the contract, which, by the way, you should definitely have a contract no matter how much you trust your clients, but give them a big picture overview of what's included. So things to include in the included section, which is really awkward to say, is the end product the client is getting, any features that are the same no matter how custom the project is, any calls or meetings, and what's definitely not included. So as a pro tip, what's not included is just as important as what is included. This may include things like the fact that you won't be writing content for your client's website if you're a web designer, or that you won't be inputting content into the website if you're a copywriter. So be really, really clear about what the client is getting and what they are not. What you need from the client. So this is something I see all the time. Service providers complaining that they haven't received whatever it is from their client. Like their client was supposed to know everything that was needed and everything that was going to happen before the project began. And here's the thing. Clients are clueless, and it's not their fault. It is your fault if you don't tell them. If you don't tell a client what you need and when you need it, you cannot expect them to deliver it to you. So I actually recommend including client work and deadlines in the contract, but the intro packet is a really great way to tell them straight off that you need something, especially if you're going to need it before the project begins. So for example, if the client needs to write 10 pages of new content for a website, they may not even be ready to book your web design services yet. If they need new headshots, but their photo session isn't scheduled for another 3 months, it doesn't make sense for you or them to proceed right away unless you've got a really long wait list. So you should know exactly what you need from the client and when, because you should have mapped out your entire process for your service beforehand. So now you get to tell them what you need so that you can plan appropriately, and so can they. Now, as a pro tip, if you have not mapped out your process, it's something that I teach you in the Successfully Simple shortcut. I also include cool things like example text to use in your intro packet so that you're able to simply copy and paste your packet together with all of these sections. So if you're interested in that, head to erinflynn.com/shortcut for more information about that program and how to join. All right, the process and the timeline. Now, if you don't know what your process is, your clients sure as heck have no idea. And when clients don't know what's going on, they get really antsy and they email and they call and they freak out because they paid you lots of money. And why isn't their project done yet? And where did you go? So you really want to avoid this. And that means having clear processes. So theoretically, again, you've already mapped out your entire process, so now you just have to make it understandable for your clients. This is going to be a simpler version of what you've done before. So you're going to want to include for your potential clients the big important pieces, as well as any important parts of the timeline where your client needs to provide something, but you're going to save all the down and dirty details for yourself, okay? They don't need to know every single step, but they need to know the major milestones. So as a pro tip, when I say simple, I mean simple. Outline the project week by week or hit those big milestones, but do not give more than your potential client needs to know at this point. So don't go overboard. All right, payments. The dreaded talk about money, which may seem odd to include in an intro packet, but I think that letting clients know upfront about how you need payments can save a lot of headache later in the project. So if you're selling a multi-$1,000 service and you need large payments in large chunks, clients need to know so that they can get their finances in order. It's best to do this before a project begins instead of springing the fact you need $3,000, $5,000, whatever, on the client the week before you're supposed to begin work and they don't have the money readily available. So as a pro tip, I generally recommend making your payments due based on date, not on deliverable. This keeps your clients from holding up payments that you're going to get by not reviewing or approving your work, and it ensures that you get paid regularly regardless of project progression. So basically your clients can never prevent you from not getting paid. The next section is going to be your FAQ. So if you get a lot of repeat questions, answer them. The intro packet is an excellent place to answer questions and reduce the amount of back and forth you have with potential clients while ensuring that they get the answers that they need. So as a pro tip, focus on the questions potential clients have and don't get too far ahead in the process. So if you don't get a lot of questions or you haven't yet, you can always skip this section completely, or you can revisit it when you've collected some questions from potential clients. But again, don't start answering things that are not relevant at this stage of the process. The intro packet wrap up. So this section marks the end of your intro packet. You should thank your client for reading through it all and let them know that they can ask questions at any time. After all, you could probably write an entire book and still not cover every possible question they might have. Be sure to tell the client what the next step is, replying to your email, booking a discovery call, or whatever you need them to do to show they agree to your processes and policies and that they are ready to take the next step. So pro tip, be clear on what the next step is and make it easy for potential clients to take it. If they need to schedule a call, use a call scheduler. If they need to fill out a form, link to the form. If it's too hard to figure out, you'll potentially miss out on a great client. So create your intro packet. Your intro packet doesn't just help you, it helps potential clients determine if you're a good fit for them. By answering a lot of questions up front, outlining your policies, and sharing your processes, both you and the client are able to screen each other with little effort on your part. So stop wasting time going back and forth in emails. Create your intro packet today. Now, if you want to get really serious about your systems, we go in depth into them inside the Successfully Simple shortcut. Head to erinflynn.com/shortcut right now to learn more. And again, if you want to reference this at any time, go to erinflynn.com/intro-packet, and I have a written version for you. Thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. Any links mentioned in this episode will be included in the show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on whatever platform you like to listen to podcasts on. And if you really enjoyed the show, please take 2 minutes to leave me a review so that others can find the show and create their own successfully simple business. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next episode.